So, welcome to the Giving Tuesday Success Stories webinar. Okay, I love a little alliteration, so that's what we're doing here today. But I'm so excited to have each and every one of you all calling today. We are actually going to be joined by a few amazing organizations. We actually have 3 organizations represented today from the Givebutter community, and they are going to be sharing all of their tips and tricks to help you reach the top this year for Giving Tuesday. See, alliteration, I told you. But everyone, I'm so excited to have you all today. Let's just jump right into this presentation. We are going to be action packed. You're going to hear their stories, and then you're going to have time for Q&A. So I want to just jump right in, okay? So we are going to start with some welcome and introductions, which is what we're doing right now. I'm going to tell you guys a little bit more about all of the amazing and exciting things that Givebutter is doing this year for Giving Tuesday to help you all reach ultimate success. We're going to do a deep dive into the success stories of all of our organizations. Then we're going to do a live Q&A. So you know how I love to hear from you all. So you're going to be able to use the Q&A and actually talk to our organizations live or ask me questions, and we're going to be able to help you give some real answers in real time. And then we're going to close and we're going to do a little bit of a preview for the next webinar. But before we get there, we have a few housekeeping items that I always like to make sure to go over. So please, please, please use the Q&A to ask questions. The chat is going to be going crazy throughout this session, which is what I love. So make sure if you have a specific question, you use the Q&A function to answer any questions that you have. And our awesome team will be here to help and answer. Please keep the chat respectful and kind, okay? We're going to talk about the Givebutter Fam. We are a Givebutter Fam, okay? So make sure you are respecting and being kind to all the other people who are in the chat. Holly from our amazing customer success team will be joining us today, and she'll be answering any questions that you have live again. So if you have any questions, just know that you can shoot them in that Q&A, and Holly will be there helping you out. And if you are in the Givebutter Fam, make sure you comment I'm in. Let us know if you're in. We are going to be amping up the Givebutter Fam like no other this year, especially as we lead up to Giving Tuesday. So if you're in that Givebutter Fam, please make sure you let everyone know that you're in. And then Holly will also drop the link for the Givebutter Fam in the chat so that you can join if you are not in currently. So a little bit about me. So I'm Floyd Jones, known as the host with the most, who does the most, maybe sometimes, I don't know, we'll see. But I am calling from Detroit, Michigan, okay? I just moved here from Washington, D.C., and let me tell you, it is cold, okay? But the power, I feel it, is hot, and the people here are doing some great, amazing things. I am the Success and Partnerships Manager at Givebutter, so I get to do fun and awesome things like this and work with all of our Givebutter community. I've worked with small organizations my entire career, and one fun fact about me, besides the fact that I love to sing, because you're going to see a singing emoji with me all over the place, is that Giving Tuesday is actually one of my favorite holidays, okay? One of the main reasons why I got involved in fundraising and even came over to Givebutter is because I love Giving Tuesday. I love seeing people in action. I love collective action. And I've been able to raise over $150,000 for organizations on Giving Tuesday, and I'm super excited to help you all reach your success as well. But before we talk about anything else, I need to hear from you all, and we're going to jump into a poll, okay? So this is a little bit of a trick question, okay? How many days until Giving Tuesday? Oh, do you see we have a new poll up here. How many days until Giving Tuesday? Well, actually, I think we launched a different poll. Do you see? Okay, I'm seeing where you at on your Giving Tuesday journey. So you know what? Let's answer this question first. Where are you at in your Giving Tuesday journey? Do you guys see this poll? Okay, y'all see the poll. Okay, feel free. So where are you at on your Giving Tuesday journey? Haven't started yet? Are you building your Giving Tuesday plan? Is your Giving Tuesday plan already executed? Hold on, let me make sure you're seeing it. Okay. Well, we kind of have two polls kind of going at once. So I'll answer this first poll question that you guys see on the screen. So how many days until Giving Tuesday? The answer is 40. And I'm gonna actually be able to show you guys a little bit more. So Mark, can you take us to our Giving Tuesday landing page? Awesome. Well, as I just mentioned, we actually have 40 days until Giving Tuesday. Not that I'm counting, actually I am actually counting. But I'm super excited because Give Butter this year is going to be your Giving Tuesday hub. We have all things for you guys to really help you guys reach that success and reach the top. Okay. So we have things like your Giving Tuesday playbook. So every single week, we're actually going to be dropping brand new features for you guys. So we have topics like campaign planning. So I saw some of you guys say there are not enough days until Giving Tuesday. Christine, I feel you. There's never enough days until Giving Tuesday. It's crazy. But we have the ultimate playbook for you guys here with campaign planning. Next week, we're going to be dropping more details on peer-to-peer success. We've got email strategies, social media. We have video and live streaming going to be coming. We're going to be giving you guys tips on how to gain new donors. And then one thing that I think is super, super, super important is donor retention. So we're going to be giving you guys all that great tips and feedback every single week. We also have a really exciting thing about Webinar Wednesdays. Okay, so every other Wednesday, so for the next couple of weeks, we have a 3-part webinar series. Today is day 1 of that series, but we're going to be focusing all of our webinars specifically on Giving Tuesday. So today is really focused on helping you guys see other organizations who reached success in the past so you can get inspired. Our next session, which we'll talk a little bit more towards the end of this session, is all about helping you guys figure out and understand what am I going to actually do to get into the nitty gritty of my campaign so I can reach success. So we're going to be reviewing campaigns live. We're going to be helping people talk about their actual fundraising strategy for their organization, and then hopefully having you guys walk away feeling great and feeling ready to go for your Giving Tuesday success. And then our last session, which is going to happen right before Giving Tuesday, is all about helping you gear up for what happens after the big day. Okay, all about donor retention, all about sending a great awesome thank you, all about making sure that your donors see the success that they helped you reach with your constituents. So we're going to be talking about all of those. If you haven't signed up for all of our webinar Wednesdays, make sure you do that because you don't want to miss them. Next is Giving Tuesday success stories. Okay, so today is all about amazing success stories, as I mentioned, but we also featured 10 other amazing campaigns that happened and took place last year. We actually sat down and looked at all of the Giving Tuesday campaigns that happened on Givebutter last year, and we picked these 10 campaigns specifically because each of them had a very unique and innovative element that you all can utilize to reach your success. So make sure you check those Giving Tuesday success story campaigns out. And then last but certainly not least, I'm sure you have all heard about it. Givebutter is giving out $50,000 in donations on Giving Tuesday. You want me to say that again? I will say it again. $50,000. Who's excited? I just need to see in the chat. Are y'all excited about this donation that we're doing? Because ain't nobody ever done that before. I'm excited. Who's excited? I want to see in the chat. Let me see. Jeremy's excited. Carmen's excited. Maria's excited. Christine's excited. I love to see that. Okay, we are giving out $50,000 this Giving Tuesday. And if you want to be in that number, I want to make sure that you're checking out our website. So there are 2 ways to win, okay? There are 2 opportunities to get a donation. One is you can actually win $5,000 for having the most creative campaign, okay? All you have to do is submit your campaign a few days in advance to Givebutter and we'll check it out. We want to see, are you using Givebutter features? We want to see, are you adding pictures? We want to see, are you adding, we just recently integrated with Canva. Are you using unique designs? really think outside the box and make sure that you're staying true and authentic to you. Okay. When we were setting up this awesome opportunity, we said we don't want to make organizations do anything extraordinary or out of the ordinary. We just want them to be their best self. And that is what we're going to have shine on Giving Tuesday. Okay. So you can submit your campaign in advance to win a $5,000 Most Creative Campaign Award on Giving Tuesday. But that's not all. We are also giving out over 25 smaller awards for $500. Okay, so that's going to be for the campaigns that have the most supporters. And make sure you know it's not about the size of how much money you're raising. Okay, you can raise $50, you can raise $5 million. It doesn't matter. We want to see, do you have supporters who are coming to your campaign? Are you actually mobilizing your community? Because that is what it is all about here at Givebutter, bringing your community together. Okay, so more on that is on the website, but make sure you get excited and spread the word that we are giving many people the opportunity to win money from Givebutter. We're going to actually give back this year for Giving Tuesday. So back to what we were talking about. So now let's actually see if the real poll that I had will work. Okay. So before we jump into that, I want to make sure that we feature a few of these amazing organizations that we have today. So today, as I mentioned, we have 3 awesome organizations that are represented. And I want to talk to you guys a little bit more about them now. So we have the Boston Youth Symphony Orchestra. We're going to be joined by Colin Keene and Amy from the Boston Youth Symphony Orchestra. I'm super excited to hear from them. From Just Say Something, we have Marty Durant. And then from Givebutter, but she used to, right before Givebutter, she would work for the Downtown Women's Center. We have Grace Woodward. And I'm super, super excited to be joined by these 3 amazing panelists today. So without any further ado, we are going to actually just jump right in. Okay, so let's start with Boston Youth Symphony Orchestra. So I loved looking at this campaign. I thought it was really amazing. One, because they completely crushed their campaign goal, but also because they were launching something brand new. So last year, in the middle of Giving Tuesday, Boston Youth Symphony Orchestra launched a brand new service called Music First. They utilized this awesome software, and they were able to mobilize their community and send that software out to the youth that they serve. So I'm actually going to turn it over to Colin and Amy so they can actually share a little bit more about their organization, their campaign, and all the things that help them reach success. Colin and Amy?
Thanks, Floyd. Welcome. Happy to be here. I'll give a little bit of background of who we are and what we do. We're a nonprofit out of Boston that serves over 550 students each year throughout New England. So we even have students sometimes as far as Vermont. Surprisingly, they'll take the truck every Sunday to attend rehearsals. And so, most of our programming, most of what we do is performing music in person. And so the pandemic put, quite a stop to that in, obvious fashion. And so this actually uniquely positioned us to have a tangible goal for our Giving Tuesday campaign. And in the past, truthfully, we hadn't had a lot of success with Giving Tuesday, for various reasons. But a lot of the reasons is that because we don't have a lot of specific target goals, for fundraising in terms of a tangible item or thing that we can fundraise towards. And so this pandemic, helped us because we needed to figure out a way how to, be able to allow all of our students, each 550 of those students, to perform, record, and produce online performances from home. And so to do that, we needed to fundraise for the software Music First, which is a suite of softwares that allows you to record, do music theory, music composition, and record yourself and combine those videos and audio snippets to put on performances. And so I'll let Amy, talk a little bit more about the software and our strategy there. But that's kind of our overview for that.
Sure. Thanks, Colin. And thanks, Floyd, for having us. We're excited to be here. This campaign was a first for us in really departing from our traditional methods of annual fund fundraising, where even on Giving Tuesday, we would send out, our regular appeals, as we often would do, encouraging people to give to our annual fund and support the breadth of our programming, not necessarily to support a specific initiative or fund or project. But what we were hearing increasingly, particularly from a lot of our younger donors and our more recent alum, is that they really wanted to see where their funds were going and really wanted to understand how their impact was being made before they even chose to be donors. And so we thought this year, with all things being new and different and digital, this would be a good opportunity for us to dip our toes in this project-based fundraising and come up with a goal that we thought was really tangible, but also conveyed this sense of urgency and specificity that hasn't been necessarily involved with all of our other Giving Tuesday fundraising efforts to date. So we chose the goal, which was an ambitious one of $10,000. Knowing full well that this would be a huge departure from our last year's fundraising for Giving Tuesday, where we raised about $800. But, we really put our faith in our donors and our alumni and our communities that they would understand the need and the sense of urgency, and certainly these unique circumstances for why we needed this particular software so that our students could continue to make music together. And in thinking about our community, one of the things that we really enjoyed doing through Givebutter, and why Givebutter was a natural partner for us, was this peer-to-peer component that allowed us to have our champions and our constituents serve as ambassadors to help us reach our goals. So it wasn't just us reaching out and doing our fundraising efforts through email and personal outreach and things like that, but it was really a way to amplify the networks and the fundraising populations that we were able to reach out into.
I love that. So, you guys, that was amazing. So, first of all, can we just create a moment real quick? You guys went from $800 to $18,000 in one calendar year for Giving Tuesday. That is incredible. And one thing that I want to make sure that I communicate to everybody in the audience is that you all created space for this growth to take place. Okay, that's the thing that came to me. You created space for growth to take place. And one of the things that I always learned and I always saw when I was, actively fundraising for various nonprofits and organizations is that if I keep my mind small, then the result will be small. But you said, you know what, we're going to actually depart from this. We're going to take a chance. We're going to do something different. And the thing that was amazing is that your community rose up to meet you. You guys communicated what you were trying to do, you communicated your goal, and your community came alongside you. And that is absolutely incredible. So when we get to the Q&A, we're definitely going to talk about that. But I hope everyone in the audience is grabbing these gems and seeing that, hey, more is possible. Different is possible. I can do more when I create space for more. So I love that. Thank you guys so much. So next, I want to talk to Just Say Something, Mr. Marty. I am so excited to hear from you. I thought that this was so incredible, this campaign. First of all, you're going to talk about it, I know, but 36 for 36, I thought that that was genius. I love that you guys were saying, hey, this is our 36th year anniversary. What are we going to do to commemorate this in a very unique way? How are we going to give our community a tangible and unique and exciting way to get involved in an easy way? And you guys did just that. So I'm going to actually turn it over to you, Marty, to share a little bit more.
Thank you, Floyd. I really appreciate it. How's everybody doing? I am Marty Durant with Just Say Something right here in Greenville, South Carolina. We offer programs and services for youth and parents with hopefully to prevent drug and alcohol abuse in the future. So we have parenting enrichment courses for kids who are younger, as well as teenagers or families that may be going through transitions such as a divorce or an adoption, as well as community programs for schools, camps, churches on communication skills to peer pressure or bullying and to some of those deeper topics like the drug and alcohol awareness. So this last year was obviously a very interesting year. So we threw a special anniversary party in a way for our 36 years. We've been open since 1984. So to celebrate and commemorate that 36th year, we had our 36 for 36 campaign. So we encouraged donors to donate $36 for those 36 years to really give them a simple way to connect an amount and want to participate, hopefully. So it really was a great success. Coincidentally, we had 36 supporters through our campaign with Givebutter. So it really ended up well and was a nice little end cap throughout the entire process. It was definitely a different type of campaign than we've done in the past. We really pushed to do more storytelling and show more pictures and videos from our programs to really make that connection with the audience. Our entire goal as an organization is to encourage conversations between parents and their children. So we really wanted to show that and connect those moments with our donors and supporters and provide, conversations to them as well.
I love that. Thank you so much, Marty. I love that you guys really leaned into the storytelling element of the campaign as well. I think one of the things that caught our eye when we were looking at different campaigns was you had so many pictures, and you also encouraged dialogue, and you encouraged people to talk back to you and let them know how they can get involved. And when people are going through that campaign, they're going to see that people were giving in honor or in memory of somebody. And those are the things that go a long way. People give when they feel compelled to give, and you gave them that reason. So I'm super excited to dig a little bit deeper in that in just a second. Thanks, Marty.
Thank you.
Okay, now we got Grace. So let me tell you something. I have a little fun story before Grace gets involved, okay? So I was doing customer interviews, and I was calling different users. We were having different calls. And I remember working with Grace and talking with Grace, and I was like, this Grace, she has it together. There's something about her. She's amazing. And she, little did I know, was going to come one day and work with Givebutter. It's been such a blessing having you, but I thought that this session would be remiss if we didn't hear it from your perspective when you were running the campaign at Downtown Women's Center for Last Giving Tuesday. So I love this campaign because you guys actually had something really unique, and I'm sure you're going to talk about it, but you guys had a matching gift of up to $30,000. And I know we're going to get into that for the Q&A because I'm sure people are saying, okay, how do I get my own matching gift? But you guys had a matching gift of up to $30,000. And you were able to mobilize your community in a really unique way to not only meet that $30,000 threshold, but exceed it by over $11,000. So I'm going to turn it over to you, Grace, to share a little bit more.
Hi, everyone. Hi, Floyd. So nice to be joining you today. I'm so excited to be on the Givebutter team, but also thrilled to share the success of the Downtown Women's Center's Giving Tuesday campaign from last year. So the Downtown Women's Center, or DWC, is an organization based in Los Angeles that supports, employs, and houses women experiencing homelessness. And every Giving Tuesday, we usually launched our year-end campaign with Giving Tuesday. Traditionally, we brought in roughly 40,000, so we were kind of having an internal goal of that, looking to raise that. And pretty close to Giving Tuesday, we had a newly engaged major donor donate $30,000, which is a really generous amount, especially for a new donor. So we asked her if she was comfortable with us using that as a matching gift for Giving Tuesday. Luckily, she was, and that was a really awesome way to mobilize supporters in our community to donate to the Downtown Women's Center. We, really broke records in 2020. A lot of people were wanting to engage with ending homelessness and getting involved in that mission specifically. So we were excited to have Giving Tuesday as an opportunity to, spread awareness and engage donors. And we were able to raise over our goal, which is really exciting.
I love that. Thank you so much for that. We're going to actually keep it on you, Grace, because we're going to dive right now into our Q&A section. And I want to start talking about campaign planning. Okay. So this campaign was super exciting. We loved watching it. We loved the video. We loved the engaging storytelling. Tell me a little bit more. How long did it take you to actually plan your Giving Tuesday campaign?
Yeah. So we had a meeting in like late September, early October. We wanted to give ourselves a lot of time, especially since we wanted Giving Tuesday to start our year-end campaign. So that was going to be about, a little over a month of fundraising. So we met early on and really discussed what theme we wanted. And something at the organization that we really pride ourselves in and think is really important is to share the words of women that we elevate and support. We don't want to speak for them; we want to empower them to use their voice. So we all agreed on a campaign of, what does home mean to you, and included quotes of women that we worked with and work with about what home means to them, and launched that as an email series and a social media series. So it gave us a lot of time to kind of play with assets, language, all the work that goes into creating a digital fundraiser. So I was so glad that we had kind of had that brainstorming session early on to really feel proud of our message.
I really love that. We're going to talk a little bit about marketing and communication, but while you just mentioned the idea of like that storytelling and leaning into that storytelling, tell us a little bit more about how important and what role you were able to put the voices of your actual constituents at the forefront. Because I think it's so easy to just, sit from your development office and say, hey, we need this money, come in, give us these donations, but you guys really flipped the script and you put your people first. Tell us a little bit about that.
Sure. Yeah. Well, something that is really special about the DWC community is that, before the pandemic, there were a lot of opportunities to engage and work with the women that we served. So people were really missing that during, the pandemic when we had to suspend volunteering. And so this was sort of a way to digitally share, the thoughts and the experiences of these women, and not just speak for them, but actually use direct quotes that we pulled from videos of video interviews. And so we were able to make, really beautiful designs out of those, and have some empowering quotes so people knew that, women were still getting housed with, by the funds that they were donating to the organization, that women were still getting connected to employment opportunities. So kind of creating a reassuring message through the voices of those women rather than us saying, oh, here's what's happening with the generous donations you're bringing us.
I love that. And I want everyone to understand and see the continued connection between the money raised and also what the money was going towards, and continuing to put that at the forefront of people's minds. It seems like it goes a really long way. One other question I wanted to ask you was about prioritization. So somebody mentioned, in the chat, and my sentiments feel the same exact way, is that like there's never enough time. There's always so much to do. It never feels like, you're gonna get ahead of the curve for Giving Tuesday. How are you, as someone managing this campaign, how are you able to prioritize, what we need to do first when we're planning a campaign? What is it, the theme first? Is it the goal first? Is it the timeline first? Is it the stories first? Like, how are you able to prioritize?
Yeah, I think we pulled a lot of information from previous years, but also wanted to try something new. So really trying to, focus in on the goal. I think our message was really the priority first, and then we kind of had our internal goal, and then, really just like the design work took a lot of time. So prioritizing that for sure, and really just, explaining like how we wanted to get the message out to people, because it really did take our whole team to amplify
Mhm.
our Give Tuesday program. And we wanted to engage our volunteers, our donors, our new donors. Like we had just launched a big fundraising campaign before this. So we wanted to come up with a lot of strategies to cover all of our bases. And I think just really finding the right way to communicate our message was helpful in doing just that.
I love that. Thank you. I want to talk to Marty for a second. One thing that I realized throughout this journey, not just for your organization, but all of the organizations that we listed, it seemed like Giving Tuesday was almost like a jump off to our greater end of year campaign that you guys had organized, and a more robust fundraising strategy that you had planned. Can you tell us a little bit more about what role Giving Tuesday played in your whole end of year campaign strategy?
Absolutely. The 36 for 36 campaign really was a great lead into just kind of a season, if you will, of giving, and people were able to give and find out more information and connect with us in new ways, whether they were signing up for our newsletter for the first time and receiving more information, or just really understanding truly more about our programs and services. it was also a great way to encourage people, and we were able to convert several people into monthly donors, and who continue to give that $36 monthly moving forward throughout the end of 2020 and still through 2021. So really trying to connect with people in a different way and getting people to become those monthly donors really, really helped us.
Okay, this is off book, but I gotta ask because I know everyone is curious. Everybody wants these recurring donors. Like that is the golden prize. How were you able to how are you able to really strategically involve the idea of having a recurring donor into your overarching strategy? I mean, for me personally, when I was a fundraiser, I think I got maybe sometimes afraid of saying, okay, I don't want to ask them to be a recurring donor because what if they just don't give at all? So how
Right.
are you able to kind of be strategic in involving that process?
It's definitely a fine line with asking people to commit to giving and supporting you in a continued fashion. But I think the $36 amount really was easy for people to just remember, and felt fine. It was a comfortable amount to continue giving and feeling like it was connecting that way. And it really is a challenge. It can be, but I think encouraging people and letting them know that the support right now is very great and very appreciated, but our services continue, and your continued support really helps us continue to survive truly as an organization.
I love that. One thing that this next question is going to go to BYSO, but one thing that I've been really seeing and noticing is that, having that idea of the follow up is so important. And I feel like you and Grace both mentioned the idea of really following up and really talking about, the impact that the gift is going to have and making sure that I say thank you and making sure that I can continue to communicate that. So my next question is for Boston Youth Symphony Orchestra. And I want to talk to you guys a little bit more about your follow-up strategy and how you were. I saw that you guys posted updates on your campaign. A month later, you were letting people know, hey, we're still going strong. Tell us a little bit more about your follow-up strategy and how you were able to infuse that in your overarching campaign plan.
It's a great question. Thanks, Floyd. I think for us, this campaign was all about transparency from the very get-go. We were transparent with our donors that we had X need to raise $10,000 to gain this, access to this software for all of the 500 kids in our program. And we really wanted to keep that transparency and that consistency in communications throughout the course of that campaign. And so in a lot of ways that came in the form of campaign updates. We certainly started our marketing plans well in advance of Giving Tuesday, but we tried to approach it from different angles in terms of, hearing from the students about how, the pivot from in-person programming to virtual programming has been, and how, in many cases they were viewing this as a lifeline to be able to continue to interact with their friends and make music virtually, which, made for a great narrative in infusing that into the rationale for why this software would be changing their lives and helping them stay together and stay connected throughout, however long the pandemic would have lasted, which at the time we had no idea. But it very much was about that transparency and that consistency throughout.
I love that. I love that. You talked a little bit about your lead up, and I think you and a few other people mentioned the idea of like having this more robust lead up, especially as it comes to marketing. So I kind of want to stick with you guys for a second and talk a little bit more about that marketing lead up and build up, especially for organizations who have really small teams. How were you able to manage all of that process?
Yeah, well, I think a lot of people worry about messaging their constituents a little too much. They're worried about, contacting them too frequently, that their emails are going to get clogged and they're going to just hear from you too much and they're going to stray away from donating. But we found through this campaign is that our donors want to hear from us, and they want to hear from us pretty frequently. And I think keeping a consistent messaging, our plan was to message as close to as possible the same time on the same day every week leading up to Giving Tuesday. And we used that as a way to motivate donors by showing the progress that had already been made with the campaign. So, through the first couple of weeks, we might have only been to $3 or $4 grand to our goal. And then we could give an update. Hey, there's only 2 weeks left until the lead up to Giving Tuesday, and we really need your help making this goal. And throughout that, we were able to infuse quotes from, our students, from our families, from our alumni, and really segment it to all of those populations so that they were getting, communicated to in the way that they know us, in the way that, they have connected with us in the past.
Ooh, you just said a good thing about the idea that donors want to actually hear from you. They want to actually hear what's going on. But I definitely know I was that person who was like, ooh, let me not hit send right now because I feel like I just sent them this message. I mean, if you've had worries about your donor email strategy, please let me know I'm not alone in the chat, okay? But did you guys think about this in advance? Like, did you guys kind of plan, okay, hey, we're gonna try to send these emails, 1 week apart? Like, how did you guys kind of come up with that idea?
We did. I mean, I think for us, it all came down to that idea of urgency and, having a tangible goal, having a tangible end date for the campaign baked right in with Giving Tuesday being, of course, the National Day of Giving. And, there obviously is a lot of competition now more than
Mhm.
ever for Giving Tuesday. And so I think in approaching our communication strategy, that was one thing that was important for us to acknowledge. What are we doing to stick out from, the other 10, 15, 20 emails that inevitably your donors are also going to get in their inboxes leading up to Giving Tuesday? And so I think, there certainly were some concerns internally with the frequency of our communications, but it was very much about, not so much how many emails do we need to send in advance of Giving Tuesday, but what are those talking points and what do we have to say?
Mm.
And making sure that those communications were actually meaningful touch points, so that every time it wasn't just the same, hey, it's 10 days to Giving Tuesday, it's 15 days to Giving Tuesday, but we were infusing that with, hey, it's 10 days to Giving Tuesday, but here's a snippet from a student who's doing virtual programming and is enjoying what they're doing. Like, it's 5 days to Giving Tuesday and we're almost at our goal, but surprise, we have an extra, additional match from an anonymous donor who has come forward. So it really opened the floodgates for donors to both submit stories to us throughout the course of the campaign, which Givebutter made it really easy to do, with them being able to leave comments and gifts and respond to us. So it was way more of a interactive campaign experience than I think we'd ever experienced before, which was fun, I think.
I love that. Come on, see, Amy let y'all know it's not about how much, it's about why. Okay, put the why at the forefront, y'all. That's great. And I want to bring Grace to the stage next because Grace is a marketing extraordinaire. And one of the things I'm seeing already in the chat, and trust me, y'all, I feel the same exact way. Donor fatigue is a real thing. It's a real thing. So, how were you at Downtown Women's Center, and also now even in your role? I know I'm kind of double dipping in a couple different things. But one thing I've been able to see is that you have been able to tap into different marketing channels and reach people at different places and have nuance in your messaging. So tell everybody a little bit about how you can utilize all the various marketing channels at your disposal for a more curated experience and being able to kind of, not, have donor fatigue in one area. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. I think this is something we had to think through a lot. I mean, a lot of it is going to where people are, so us sort of analyzing, well, what communication platforms are people engaging with the most? So we communicate a lot through email. That's definitely like a big focus because a lot of our loyal donors donate through email. We were able to track that, tracking open clicks and, everything like that. So really focused a lot on email for any campaign, but especially Giving Tuesday. But then looking to social media as well and saying, there's a lot of people talking about this on Instagram, and this is maybe a little bit younger of a demographic, and this is how we want to communicate our mission and how to get involved here versus Facebook or LinkedIn. So really just thinking about the audiences that are there and what they're particularly interested in.
I love that. I love that. And I don't want to jump too early ahead of the gun, but I do see a really great question in the chat about the idea of what if you're a newer organization and what happens? How do you, get images out, and how do you engage and really do more storytelling if you don't have a huge stockpile of information?
Yeah, I mean, I read somewhere recently, like it's over 80% of organizations use Giving Tuesday as an opportunity to experiment.
Mm.
So if this is something that you're interested in tracking, maybe this is the time to, try a certain post on Facebook or Twitter or Instagram or whatever it might be, and see how it does and see how many people donate through that or engage with that post. So it's kind of an opportunity to see, where people are going to find out more information about you.
I love that. Well, before we jump into the Q&A, because I do see that we have a lot of questions, I want to talk to Marty once more. So, Marty, you guys were really strategic with your 36 for 36 campaign and the idea of having people donate $36. Tell me a little bit more about your overarching fundraising strategy and what unique things that you tried to infuse throughout to kind of get people to engage on a deeper level. I think you're still on mute, Marty.
That is my bad. Sorry. Honestly, we have to give a big shout out to Givebutter. We, in the past, had really utilized social media to make posts that share different aspects of what we do. But the campaign pages with Givebutter have really given us a central location to have stories and pictures and videos that people can see all in one place, as well as the supporter wall. Was really a great way to sort of build community and have people participate and feel more inclined and want to be a part of it as well. So using the campaign page to really focus on storytelling, we wanted the donors and supporters to not only connect to us as an organization, but connect to the families and the youth and the parents that we work with. So it was definitely a unique opportunity to show, what was going on and really have a list of the different programs with a description of what it is, as well as pictures to go with it. So I really think that benefited us this year to have that central location where people could connect with others and connect with what we do.
I love that. And I'm going to ask you this question, but I'm also going to ask our friends at BYSO after. How did you decide what campaign type to utilize? So you definitely, added the pictures and everything, which was great, but you could have easily, just did a quick donation form and said 36 for 36, give us this 36 option. How did you know what campaign type you wanted to use?
Honestly, like Grace said, it was a lot of experimenting. So knowing that we hadn't been able to really show off a lot of the pictures that we had in the past, having that dynamic and interactive page really benefited us, I think, because it just really created that connection with the audience that they weren't able to get before.
I love that. So same question, but only now I want to hear from our friends at BYSO. How did y'all know what you wanted to do? Especially because it was brand new and y'all were going from 800 to 18,000. So what y'all do?
There are a lot of big questions going into that decision. I think in some ways the timing was perfect because, we were couple of months into this pandemic and realizing very much that digital engagement was more important than ever, but also finding new and unique ways to connect our communities was more important than ever as well. And so, in tandem with two specific volunteer groups that we had launched well in advance of Giving Tuesday over the course of 2020, we thought this was a great time to put these folks to work, but also for them to serve as our best champions and pair that with the peer-to-peer model offered through Givebutter. Colin can speak a little bit to some of these, both our parent group as well as our alumni volunteer group, which really were both instrumental, I think, in helping us be as successful as we were in this campaign.
Yeah, I think from our parents committee standpoint, it was a case of lots of parents that typically would get together on Sunday at rehearsals and they'd build that community bond. And they didn't really have that. So a lot of them were jumping at the bit to do something for us and connect with other parents. And so we had a couple new parents join our parents committee and a couple long-term parents. And so they had various connections to different people throughout the, 5 or 6 orchestras that we have. And so they were able to really, branch out into their various contacts that we might not have, a connection with because they're brand new. They're joining from a virtual year. We don't get that one-on-one time at rehearsals like we would typically. And then, aside from that, our alumni community, we've been around since 1968. And so that community is vast. And so by one of our colleagues had started our alumni ambassador group. And we just thought that for both of those communities, this peer-to-peer model would work great because they have connections to people that we might not even have in our database, from the 70s or the 80s. And so they could connect with people on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram, and all the various social medias, and really leverage getting those people back into the fold. And I think that was a huge part of our success is, really tapping on those resources to branch out our network further than, we could otherwise.
I love that. I love that. Okay, so we can keep the image on you guys. So the first live Q&A question I have is actually for you all. And just so you guys know, we have a lot of questions. So I'm going to skip a few things just so we can kind of get to some of these questions for the audience, okay? So the first one is for you all, and it's an easy one. Can you please tell us how you made that heart? Because I wanted to know too. It looked real good.
Well, to be honest, Amy and I can't take credit for that. That was the work of one of our work study students who is a Canva whiz.
Wow.
We're very lucky in the sense that we have a lot of, photos to use over the years, and where I think, newer organizations are tough, to someone's point earlier, where they may not have that backlog of things. And we have decades of photos that we're able to use. And so she found, I think, a BYSO or a Giving Tuesday heart somewhere in another design, and then just amplified that and infused our branding and our photos of all these adorable kids, which it looks great.
I love that. So use Canva, y'all, and now Givebutter actually integrates with Canva, so that should make it even easier. This next question I'm gonna give to Holly, okay? I'm sorry, to Grace, and it's from Emily Jones. So Grace, our organization just completed a different fundraising campaign and raised over $20,000. Okay, Emily, come on, somebody. I'm concerned that raising more money in a similar manner might cause donor fatigue, especially as we are launching our end of year campaign in November/December. Any advice?
Sure. Yeah, I think that's a really valid thing to be mindful of. I think that in my time in development, you're kind of taught that you're always allowed to ask. You can't have any of these donations come through unless you at least ask. And it can maybe look like a different thing, like the idea of having it be like a lower amount, or something, more program specific that might be more time sensitive. But you can really use Giving Tuesday as a way to engage your supporters. It doesn't even have to be a donation. One of the pages I saw on Givebutter, they encourage people to do volunteer acts of kindness, but still had the donate page open on their peer-to-peer page. So people could leave a donation if they wanted to, even though the main ask was, go do something nice for Giving Tuesday, and they still hit their fundraising goal. So it could always look a little different. And I think you shouldn't be afraid to ask. You maybe don't want to ask people to set up a peer-to-peer page if you just did something like that. That's why we didn't do peer-to-peer for Giving Tuesday. We had just done peer-to-peer for our summer campaign. So we just did, strict, simple donation page. But I don't think you have to worry about asking too much. Those who want to engage well, and you can find, fun ways to sort of make it a little bit different than your last one.
I love that. And I think it always comes down to the plan, right? So if you are going to, like you just said, you knew for your summer campaign, you were going to do a peer-to-peer campaign, and you were going to engage, a certain subset of your donors. Well, for your end of year campaign, you opened up the door and you were very strategic about who you're reaching out for that one as well. So be clear about what plan you're using. I also love the idea of it's never too late to ask. You know what I mean? I always say that people want to be a blessing. Don't block someone's blessing, and don't give them the opportunity to give. You know what I mean? Always open up the door for someone to be able to give just by asking. So that's great. The next question I'm going to send over to Marty from Holly. So Holly asks, how can Giving Tuesday be an opportunity to retain previous donors and increase donor retention? And I think you guys did a great job of that. So do you want to share?
Absolutely. Going back with the monthly donor aspect, we were able to get a lot of people who had been one-time donors or who had donated in years past to kind of hop back in after seeing more of what we really do and work with, or who we work with. So it was just a really good way to, expand not only new donors, but reconnect old donors by sending out newsletters specifically to those groups of people who had fallen off as donors or who had donated at one time. I'm really encouraging them to hop back in and check out what we're doing now and check out ways that we had changed our services through COVID to have more virtual programs or virtual ways to connect with the parents or kids, how we were getting mobile hotspots or tablets for families to use so they would still be able to participate remotely. It was just a good way to update them on where we were at, what we were doing, and how they could help us continuing to move forward.
I love that. Yes, really being communicative all throughout seems like it really just goes and makes a benefit. That's great.
Absolutely.
The next question I'll send to BYSO friends. Okay, so Maria asks, how do you manage the ask with both Giving Tuesday and end of year campaign?
I think in this case, that's where the specificity was really helpful because they really were both very distinct campaigns. We were intentional in doing this because, particularly with an ambitious goal for us, we didn't want Giving Tuesday efforts to cannibalize our end of year giving. And so, what we tried to do in setting up our Giving Tuesday strategy was to have the goal be and the project be unique and distinct enough so that in December, when we began our end of year campaign efforts in earnest, from a donor perspective, ideally was understood that they were different things completely.
I love that. I'm going to stick with you on that because someone asked a similar question. Is setting a goal for Giving Tuesday or any campaign really, do people find that they are more successful if they have a very achievable goal to begin with or a stretch goal that donors will be inspired to help meet?
I think an achievable goal is always a better one to start with, if only for the purposes of gaining that momentum. And I say that, fully aware of having raised $800 in the previous year and setting a very ambitious goal of $10,000 this year. But one of the things we did in setting that goal was we made sure that wasn't just an arbitrary number. We pulled the data. We had a look at, our donors who hadn't yet renewed this year, donors who had expressed interest in giving to project-based, fundraising campaigns. And we really had a plan for, I would say, at least getting us halfway, at least to that finish line to build that momentum so that, if you can consider your campaign, a good strategy for having at least half of your goal, then, the other half ideally will follow with some of that momentum that you're building throughout your marketing and communications efforts. So it's a combination of, do you have enough to, get new donors, but also to keep your existing donors and encourage them to give in this way as well.
I love that. Yeah, did you have something to add, Colin?
Yeah, I was just going to say to add to that, I think with this goal in mind specifically, we had a very concrete number for what that music software cost. It did cost $10,000, and so that's where the goal came from originally. On top of that, we were able to, like Grace and DWC, position ourselves with a match amount of that, of the $10,000. And then as we crept towards that goal, we unlocked more funds. So we, built momentum. So once we hit that $10,000 goal, we unlocked another $5,000 from another anonymous donor. And that then, helped add momentum to that goal. So I think, starting with an attainable goal at first, even as lofty as that attainable goal might be, trying to attach it concretely to an item or something tangible is, I think, what helped our success last year.
I love that. So I want to transition. I know we didn't get to every single question, but I do want to transition because you guys have some amazing top tips. So we're going to close this thing out with hearing from our organizations one last time and some of the top tips that they have to offer. So BYSO, y'all already on a roll. So why don't we talk and start with your guys' top tip? Do y'all see the screen? Their top tip number 1 from BYSO? Colin, Amy, any of y'all?
Yep, I can see it now. Like we just said, I think it's having that specific tangible goal for your campaign so donors can really understand the impact. I think, like I said previously, in a typical year, it's really hard for us to assign a price to some of the things that we do, like renting rehearsal halls and music stands and chairs and all of those things, because it varies so different between performances. And so I think having this goal of a $10,000 software that would, provide every single student in our programs, what they needed to have a successful remote education, really drove our donors to want to be engaged with the campaign. I think it gave them something concrete to hold on to, and that's why this is our top tip.
I love that. Let's send it over to Marty next for Just Say Something's top tip.
Absolutely. Our top tip was be visible and engage in community. So really connecting with people in your programs and your services, whether it's inviting them to volunteer through your campaigns or showing it off through storytelling, images, video, and really making sure that you're getting that content during the services that you're offering, because it really, I think, helps to relay even more powerfully with words your message to supporters.
Wonderful. And Holly, I'm sorry, I keep Grace.
I'm thrilled to be compared to Holly. That's fine. Yeah, so my top tip is all about donor retention and including a follow-up strategy with everyone who engages in your campaign. I mean, this is true for all campaigns, but definitely Giving Tuesday, you're going to have a lot of new people looking at your website, donating to you for the first time. I meant to mention this earlier. Last year, our website actually crashed at DWC, and that was why we pivoted very quickly to using Givebutter. We were new to Givebutter and very quickly launched a campaign on it. Luckily, it was super fast and easy to set up a page. So that's a lot of new people who are coming to our website that day and coming to our mission and donating. So really not making it be an afterthought to find a way to engage them later, but being strategic in how are we going to bring these new people into our community past Giving Tuesday.
I love that. So now, before we close off, we have 2 more minutes, everyone, but I want to just show everybody our important Giving Tuesday reminders. So a couple of things I want to make sure you guys know. Make sure you submit your Giving Tuesday campaign. So we heard so many great things today from all these amazing success stories. Now I want to see you guys put those things into action, and you guys can submit your Giving Tuesday campaigns on givebutter.com/giving-tuesday. You'll be able to submit your campaign if you want to be able to be eligible and win one of those $5,000 awards that we'll be giving away on Giving Tuesday. Please submit your campaign in advance. Get ready for our next webinar. So now we're going to give you guys an opportunity to actually be able to review your campaigns live. So if you want to hear from one of our awesome success team members, we're going to be able to dig deep into your fundraising strategy. We're going to be able to do a deep dive with your organization on your actual campaign. Think of it like an intimate one-on-one, but for the entire Givebutter community. So if you're interested in that, make sure you go and let us know when you're registering for your next webinar. And then also, like I mentioned, check out the Giving Tuesday playbook. We have so many incredible resources, all this information that everyone talked about, and so much more on our platform. So with that said, I want to say thank you to each and every one of you. Thank you to our amazing panelists. If you haven't let them know in the chat yet, let them know how great they were. You guys were so fantastic. I love all of the insight. And thank each and every one of you guys for coming and attending. I hope to see you guys at our next webinar on November 3rd, learning more practical tips and best practices for Giving Tuesday success. Many blessings to you all, and I can't wait to see what you guys can achieve. Bye-bye.
You turned this from an idea in a dorm room into the #1 rated fundraising platform on the internet.
You raised over $100 million for charitable causes just in the last year.
You are making the world a better place, one gift at a time.